Have you ever wished to have a reset button that can undo the things we did in our past and magically solve our problems? In theory, this idea sounds great, but would it really work? An anime called Doraemon, also pronounced as Doremon, would be the best example of what happens when you have the perfect device that could help you solve your problems. Should be. But if you have watched at least one episode, you will realize that even if Nobita had the access to these gadgets, they never truly helped him. Instead, they always backfired and made things worse for him. Now you might be wondering, why am I talking about Doraemon when this video is about Takopi's original sin? That's because both the anime share a similar plotline where a blue-raccoon looking robot, Doremon, helps this troubled kid named Nobita, and a pink octopus looking alien, Takopi, tries to help Shizuka. Takopi's original sin seems to take heavy inspiration from Doraemon, since there is an existing character named Shizuka in the Doraemon series. Watching Takopi's original sin made me reminiscent on the past where the series was a huge part of my childhood, and I bet it was a part of many people's childhood as well. These shows might share a similar plot, but they are nothing alike. Whereas Nobita uses Doraemon's gadgets to make life easier, Takopi's original sin take a different route with a more diabolic and realistic take on this concept. Whereas Doraemon was meant for children, Takopi's original sin on the other hand seems to cater to an older audience. Do not, and I mean it, do not fall for the cute anime art style. This series deals with a lot of dramatic themes like bullying, abuse, and child neglect, so getting in this anime could be a little difficult for some. But if you do decide to watch it, it could change your life. Save this video for later. But if you can't stomach anime like these, I'll give you a rundown right now. Spoiler alert, you have been warned. An innocent naive alien lands on planet Earth with a mission to spread happiness, not knowing what he was about to get into. He meets this girl named Shizuka that helps him out by sharing some of her food with him. Takopi, feeling indebted to Shizuka, tries to help her fly back home with his magical gadget. This is where Shizuka dropped these lines.
空なんて飛べたってどうせ何も変わらないし
These lines itself says a lot about Shizuka's character. For a child to act this way seems unreal, because normally a child would love to fly in the sky like their favorite superheroes. It's concerning to say the least. At this moment, Takopi believed that Shizuka must be able to fly, hence not needing a gadget, which is brilliant. This assumption perfectly establishes his childlike innocence and pure heart naivety, contrasting his simple, one-dimensional worldview against the agonizing complexities of the world he's trying to navigate. It's moments like these that don't take away from the seriousness of the situation but balances out with a bit of humor, and you'll see it a lot throughout the anime. Takopi's interpretation on how humans work is comical, but sometimes it can be very questionable. Or even dark, to be honest. Over the couple of weeks, Takopi showcases a few of his interesting happy gadgets. Hold on, where is he roaming that gadget from? Maybe this is the reason why she doesn't want your gadget. A camera to which they take a photo together with, a gadget that can be used in parties, a gadget that can give advice, a ball pen that can make noises of a Saturn rabbit. I don't know what she's gonna do with that, but okay. But none of this seems to be of any use to Shizuka. The only time he did find her happy was when she was with her dog Chappie. Later on we find out that Shizuka's mom is an escort and her dad left them, leaving her and Chappie behind. Takopi suggests that she should visit his home planet. Shizuka didn't want her to go, so she said she doesn't believe in magic. In annoyance, Shizuka says,
いけないよどこにもハッピー星にもパパのところにも
These simple lines are unsettling. I could literally feel the weight of these words. It's almost as if Shizuka has already given up on life, as if she felt like she was an alien that didn't belong anywhere. Later, she reveals that she doesn't believe in magic because she had once wished upon the stars for her parents to not be divorced. But it didn't really work, making her not believe in magic. It's in this part of the anime that Takopi promised Shizuka that he'll bring back her smile, to which for a second a glint of hope sparked in Shizuka's eyes. The scene switches to her face, all bruised up with Chappie's collar in her hand, clearly showing signs of abuse that Shizuka has been through something that Takopi couldn't understand. To which Shizuka replied that she had a fight with a friend. To help Shizuka become friends, he takes out his happy gadget, patch up ribbon, a device that can help you become friends again by tying the ribbon on their pinky fingers. Shizuka asks Takopi to lend her the ribbon, but that's when he remembered that his mother had once told him to never let a human use it on its own. But he was determined to help Shizuka, and so he lent the gadget to her. In the next scene, we see her Shizuka had hung herself with the same ribbon he gave her. The same ribbon that was supposed to help Shizuka solve a problem. God damn, what a twist. Takopi feels guilty and responsible for Shizuka's death, stating that no gadget can bring a person back to life. Which is funny because in the next part we see him take out his happy gadget and then rewind time with that camera, the same camera they took a photo with. With tears in his eyes, he decides he wanted to find out why she would do something like this. Time rewinds and then we see Takopi going back in time to the same place that they were sitting taking the photo. He decides to go with Shizuka to school. Maybe there he'll find the answer to his question. And to camouflage himself, he turned into a flower using his happy gadget. Here we are introduced to another character called Marina, an average school bully that seems to be the root cause of Shizuka's suffering. The class starts and the teacher calls out to Shizuka to give an answer, but Shizuka fails to answer because her book was trashed by Marina, so of course she didn't have the answer to her question. Takopi, assuming Shizuka passed away due to not being able to answer in class, hence he rewinds time and tries to fix this issue, thinking now Shizuka will be saved, but we see Marina become more irritated and end up planning worse things for Shizuka. So throughout the day, she tries creating problems for her. The more Takopi helps Shizuka, the more irritated Marina gets. Later that day, Marina wanted to meet Shizuka after lunch, but Shizuka was too scared to confront her. So Takopi decides to switch places with her, transforms into her with his gadget and meets her and tries his best to talk to her, but all she did was... Takopi felt pain for the first time, a sense of unfamiliarity and discomfort, not knowing what was going on. He couldn't muster up the courage to get up. Marina goes on to kick an already weak Takopi in Shizuka's body. He tries to talk it out with Marina for Shizuka's sake, but Marina was unforgiving. Holding a grudge against Shizuka, she begins to blame her because her mom was an escort to her dad. And that's what destroyed the relationship with Marina's dad and her mother, causing Marina to blame Shizuka for all of her problems. As Takopi in Shizuka's body was gonna get stabbed, the time rewinds. Takopi, feeling defeated, he tries again, realizing where he went wrong. Going back in time, he still helps Shizuka, but this time Takopi didn't have the courage to confront Marina, so Shizuka meets Marina. And in that moment, Takopi didn't know what to do. He didn't know how to help Shizuka. But he mustered up the courage and ran to the teachers and saved Shizuka. Later, we see Marina going back home to her mom, menacingly sitting on the dinner table waiting for Marina, blaming her for dad being angry because Marina didn't come back home early. We see a close-up of Marina's eyes with a terrifying look and teary eyes, implying that something horrifying happened. In the next episode, we see Marina not being faced by Shizuka. Takopi thinking everything is fine. But later that evening, when Shizuko was taking a stroll in the park with Chappie, we find Marina over there. They get into a one-sided fight. At this moment, we see Chappie bite Marina in order to protect Shizuka, while Marina smiled evilly. Due to this event, Chappie is taken away and Shizuka is heartbroken. Shizuka had not only lost the one she loved, she had also lost her hope, which was honestly very heartbreaking because she had nobody else other than Chappie that was actually capable of making her happy. And Takopi realizes that he has failed. He rewinds time, but he fails to save Chappie each and every time. But this time, something different happened. And we see Shizuka's mom interact with her with the least bit of kindness, treating her more like a burden and blaming her for causing trouble. We see a Shizuka bed rot, but Takopi pulls her up to take her back to school. Marina, back with the bullshit, tries to bully her. Azuma intervenes this time and he tries to help. In an altercation to save Shizuka, Takopi ends up hitting Marina in the head with the same device that he used to rewind time with. And for the first time, we see Shizuka happy that Marina is gone. Meanwhile, Takopi couldn't go back in time because the device was broken. Shizuka, on the other hand, was determined to find Chappie. She ended up thanking a traumatized Takopi for killing Marina with a smile. Finally, we see her smile, but at what cost? Now that they had killed Marina, they had to find a way to deal with the situation, so they ended up taking Azuma's help, who had ended up witnessing them murder his classmate. Yeah, that's how it goes. He tried to tell them to turn himself in, but Shizuka's goal was to bring back Chappie, so they convinced Azuma to help them. Even though he knew he shouldn't help them, but since he liked Shizuka, he couldn't say no. And that's how they ended up hiding a body. And then what happens is Takopi takes Marina's form, replacing her. Now that Takopi turns into Marina, we are able to find out about Marina's perspective, which I found so interesting. Takopi witnesses Marina's mom and dad fight. Innocent Takopi, thinking they were getting along, didn't see what's wrong with them. One day, Marina's dad suggests that Marina's come to Papa's house. Takopi, wanting to go to Tokyo to find Chappie, he agrees. This behavior triggers Marina's mom, which leads to her mom slapping Takopi for wanting to be with her dad, something that Marina had never done before. And here is where we find out that her mom knew that she was not Marina, and she begs her to give her back. This scene was so painful and beautiful at the same time. I can't explain it in better terms. You just have to watch it. Later, weeks passed by and the kids grew closer to each other as they made plans on how to get to Tokyo where Shizuka's dad was. Next day, the body was found. Another twist in the story. The group was now thrown into a frenzy. They tried to figure out what to do next. Azuma analyzed the whole situation. He had already created an alibi and everything seems to go well. No one was caught at that moment, but in all this mess, Azuma messed up his test. And he now has to confront his mom about his results. This scene was perfectly animated. The discomfort that Azuma was going through, sitting on the dinner table waiting for his mom to express her disapproval and disgust of his failures. But all he sees is the hot, yummy, golden pancakes dripping with maple syrup pushed in front of him. The thing that he had desired the most. His relief was quickly overshadowed by his darkness. She passed him the object of desire, stating that she had already given up on him and he can have the pancakes. Azuma is disgusted by himself and he throws up, his world crumbling apart, feeling lost and not good enough. No matter how much he tried, he was never as good as his older brother. The perfect child, good scores on all tests, had many friends. His mom loved him, had a girlfriend, everything that Azuma ever wanted but could never become. When his older brother got a job, Azuma thought that this was his chance to impress his mom. Surely he will not be able to get good grades as he upholds a job, but he ends up managing everything with ease. Why was luck never on his side? But then the image of Shizuka came into his mind. The girl that believes in him. The girl that believes he can do it. Her hair reminding him of his mother. The appreciation and validation he couldn't get from his mom seems like he tries to get it from Shizuka. This makes him agree to all the absurd requests Shizuka made because she was the only one that believed in him. And he didn't want to disappoint her like he disappointed his mother. Even when Shizuka tells him to turn himself in for the murder, his rational mind didn't want to. But Shizuka's consoling him that she'd be there for him and wouldn't give up on him gave a sense of comfort to Azuma. That's something he always wanted to hear from his mother, but he couldn't. He keeps questioning himself if this is the right thing to do. What will happen to his dad's business, and how would his mom react if he confesses to all this? His brother finds his behavior weird and follows him to ask him what's going on. Azuma, in his disturbed state, he confesses how he truly feels, all the hurt that he's feeling, how lonely it is, to which his brother comforts him. He will always be there to comfort him. Azuma cried as he was comforted by his older brother. Honestly, his older brother was low-key the best character in the whole series. Meanwhile, Shizuka places a straw hat on Takopi's head, which reminds me of this very one scene. Okay, maybe it's just me, I don't know. Both of them headed off to Tokyo to find Chappie. At her dad's doorstep, she meets her dad, but he now had two children. When one of the girls asked who Shizuka was, her dad didn't acknowledge her, treating her like a stranger. We see the light in Shizuka's eyes fade. And then she hears a bark, thinking it was Chappie. It made her happy, but her smile fades away as she sees some other dog. It starts raining, and Shizuka and Takopi are alone now. Then Shizuka sees two kids playing around, and then she says, "The girls might have eaten Chappie. Maybe if I cut their stomach, I'll find him." She asks Takopi for a gadget to check their stomachs, but Takopi didn't have any. Takopi tries to stop her and beg her to go back home. Shizuka had lost it. She takes a stone and bashes his head, and this is where he gets a flashback. He remembers the very first time he landed on planet Earth, not meeting Shizuka, but Marina. He tries helping her with his gadget to make her happy, but all Marina would do is shove him away aggressively. At home, we see Marina's and her mom's abusive relationship. Her mom drunkenly scolds Marina for no reason, accusing her of things that she had nothing to do with. This scene is so uncomfortable to watch, but we can see why her mom was suffering as well. She is guilty for hurting Marina with the bottle of glass that scarred her face, but she's also angry at her. We get a flashback to when Marina said she wanted to be a mom, to which insensitive Takopi says,
真似っこしてたんだっぴか。はあ？何が？だからマリナちゃんがいつも僕を強く触るのはママの真似っこしてたんだっぴよね。人間はこうやって子育ての練習するんだっぴね。マリナちゃんもきっといいお母さんになれるっぴ。
What the? At first the scene might be like, what did he just say? But this scene just implies that the reason why Marina is so aggressive is because of her mother. And this is the only way she is thought to express herself, a byproduct of her mother's abuse. Later, she and Azuma start dating because she wanted to be a mother, and Takopi was like, you know what, you need to find a guy for you, girl. And she sees Azuma at that moment, and yeah. And then they made a plan to meet her mom. Just when things were going well, Azuma fell in love with this girl that tried to end it, but the rope broke. This girl was Shizuka. At home, Marina's mom was waiting for them to show up, but then she found out that they had broken up. Her mom went crazy. Seeing herself in the child, she gets angry because this time she had tried her best to prepare the dinner and all of it seems to go to waste. This was honestly the most horrifying scene in the anime. Her mom picks up a knife to hurt her, but Marina ends up murdering her. Or her mom tried to end it, it's kind of open to speculation. And then Marina blames Shizuka for all this. Takopi decides all this could be undone if he just kills Shizuka. So he goes back to his planet, and in this timeline, Marina ends it. Back at Takopi's home, he goes to his mom, requests her to help him go back in time and save Marina and kill Shizuka. But his mom says that he has broken the rules and will be punished for it, and erases his memory. Angry Takopi doesn't listen to his mom and goes back to the happy big clock, not realizing his memories were wiped out, and he's transported back to planet Earth to the current timeline where Shizuka and Takopi meets, forgetting his main goal of killing Shizuka. When Takopi woke up, Shizuka was gone, and he meets Azuma, who wanted to go look for Shizuka, but Azuma said he couldn't meet them ever again. In this episode, it's not said what happened with the murder case, but it seems like Junta had taken the blames for Azuma and had lost his job and was not able to attend college anymore, which led to his mother being bedridden and their dad coming back from the clinic. Azuma told Takopi that if you ever go back in time, please tell me to try to fight with my brother. And he gave the murder weapon back to Takopi. Takopi, confused about what to do now, he asks Azuma how can Shizuka be a good and a bad person at the same time. To which Azuma says a person can be good and bad at the same times because we are human after all. Takopi looks for Shizuka everywhere. And finally, he finds Shizuka. She tells him to get out of his way. She needed to go to the health center to search for their stomachs. Maybe there she'll find Chappie, he said. For which Takopi tells her he'd be sad if she does that. To which she replied, this is the very first time we see Shizuka express herself.
じゃあどうすればよかったの？知らない人みたいな顔で私のこと見てたお父さん。どうすればよかったの？私だけのお父さんじゃなくなってたらどうすればよかった？一人で船に乗っちゃダメって言われたらどうすればよかったの？大人なんていないのにママが帰ってこなくなった時はどうすればよかった？ノートがなくなったらどうすればよかったの？臭いって言われてもどこが臭いの？ママ教えてくれなかったじゃんねえ！
She smashed Takopi's head with a rock. But Takopi apologizes to her. Shizuka cries and cries as Takopi is there for her throughout her mental breakdown. Then one day, Takopi finds the solution. If Takopi sacrifices happy powers, he can go back in time one last time. To which Shizuka begs him not to go. He promises her to make things right. Time rewinds back. This time, Takopi is nowhere to be found. This time, both the girls remember something about this pink octopus, but things have changed. Azuma ends up not meeting Shizuka and also has a fight with his brother. And now they seem to be on good terms. Marina's bullying goes on, but something's weird and different. As she tries to bully Shizuka, something bothered her and stopped her from bullying Shizuka. A book fell down, and there they saw a doodle of Takopi. They both looked at it and ended up crying. They didn't know why, but they were sad. But it made them feel nostalgic as they both cried over the octopus.
太陽系第三惑星地球2016年の君たちへしてあげられないことだらけだ。君たちの離れてしまった家族やもう戻らない心、もう君を見ないママに君だけのものじゃないパパ、何にもできないけれどそれでも君がもう一人じゃない君たちがきっと大人になれるように。ありがとう。
We see a glimpse of them as adults, as close friends, an ending we weren't expecting. And if you think the end was bullshit, then I'm really sorry, but you have not understood Takopi's original sin. Takopi's main goal was to make both the kids happy and wanted them to become friends, which in the end he successfully did. Takopi's original sin is one of those animes that will sit in my head rent-free. But what is Takopi's original sin about? Takopi's original sin. The title of the show itself implies a connection to the biblical biblical story of the original sin where Adam and Eve disobeyed God in the Garden of Eden, similar to when Takopi disobeys his mother. But what was his actual sin here? Ignorance. Being willing to sacrifice one person's happiness in exchange for the others. His sin was of wanting to kill Shizuka, thinking it would solve Marina's problems, not understanding the complexities of human life, deeming people as good and evil, not knowing that humans are not perfect, falling into a grey area. And throughout the series, Takopi explores these themes, coming to a conclusion that we can't control one's environment. There are many factors that play a role in one's misery, and no gadget can solve all their problems. And just removing Shizuka or any other one that causes problem from the face of the earth won't solve the problem either. We can't control one's environment. There are many factors that play a role in one's misery, and no gadget can solve all their problems. And just removing people from the face of the earth wouldn't help either. As Azuma says, people can be both good and bad. No one is truly innocent. All their negative traits were passed down by their parents. Shizuka's mom not caring about Shizuka in turn made her selfish, as she uses Azuma and Takopi for her selfish needs. Marina being abused by her mom causes Marina to abuse Shizuka and blame her for all her problems. Azuma being neglected causes him to neglect himself in order to get that appreciation he always sought for. Even Takopi himself was left on his own by his mother, given a set of rules to follow without any proper reasoning or communication, later punishing him for making a mistake by erasing his memory. Just as Takopi thought ending Shizuka is the only option, leaving no space for growth. All of this neglect led these children to do some of the most heinous things you'll probably not be able to imagine a child capable of doing. And people love to blame Marina or Shizuka for all this, but these kids are only victims of their situation. All they are trying to do is survive their cruel fates by any means. Doesn't justify their actions, but we can't blame them either. They are children that don't know better. Watching this anime took me through a roller coaster of emotions. I could relate to what these children were going through. I'm pretty sure you yourself see yourself in these characters, which I'm so sorry if you do. You didn't deserve things like this, and it's not your fault. Every children in this world deserves to be loved, and honestly, it's really heartbreaking to watch because there are many people that go through these events in the real world. And I do hope you find your peace within this chaos and grow into a beautiful person, breaking through the generational curse that your parents have bestowed upon you. Every bad things will pass away just as it came by, so stay positive. And thank you for coming this far into this video. See you in the next one. Mata ne!